Good morning. Welcome to Now Streaming Show this morning. Reaching you live from the capital city of Abuja, the studios of the Advent Cable Network Nigeria. It's good to be on your screen again this morning after a little while. I'm not here in the studio alone. I'll be doing justice to a few of the stories and happenings in the world. With me this morning in the studio is my co-anchor, Mr.
Good morning, Ebuka, and I am Godwin UJIRI, the co-anchor for the show. Good morning, viewers, and welcome to Now Stream.
Welcome, Mr. Godwin.
All right, Ebuka.
I hope you did not queue up in the fuel station with me.
Hopefully, Nigerians have their way of beating all of this tension. But however, your opening was quite catchy. But I want to leave that for the conversation because you saying that flood has come to wash away the sins. I am now placed in a state where I don't know if I'm to agree with you or disagree with you because it seems as though the sins of the nation is catching up on us as a people.
All right, so we'll get more details of that story as we continue. And we will not be discussing alone this morning. We have joining us virtually all the way from Delta State. We have Comrade Abraham Soko. Comrade Abraham Soko is a political analyst and a sports commentator. Comrade, good morning and thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Ebuka. I'm happy to join up. Good morning to our viewers.
All right, viewers, please remember you can join the conversation this morning by calling the numbers showing on your screen or sending your comment via our various social media handles also showing on your screen. We'll be so glad to hear from you and know how it's been with you wherever you are watching us from. All right, viewers, we're now on to the sports segment, but remember that you can join this conversation. We would like to hear from you. What are your views? What are your comments? Just call by sending your comment by calling the numbers showing on your screen right away, or you can also just do us a favor and send in comments via our various social media handles also showing on your screen. But before we begin with Talk Sports this morning, I would like us to look at the front page of the Punch Sports Extra. And I have a copy of the Punch Sports Extra here with me. And the first on the lead story there says, "Stick with Austin." Fans tells NFF to retain Eguavon as Eagles coach. All right, that's the lead story on today's Punch Sports Extra, and the details of that story is on page 6 of the same paper. All right, above that we have Warren tips dubious to KO Joshua. That's on page 2, and page 7 we have the story on Nigerian midfielder Onyedika agrees 5 years gala deal. That's a lovely move. I think he will be playing alongside his fellow national teammate, that's Victor Osimhen in Galatasaray. All right, so that's on page 7. And page 7 also have the story on Eagles boast world-class strikers. Eagles boast world-class strikers. That's coming from Spital, and that's on page 7. And page 7 also talks about the story concerning Murillo and Victor Osimhen, and it says Murillo reveals his problem with Osimhen. He has earlier said some things, and it's on page 7 on the Punch Sports Extra. All right, so we have the story on Arsenal captain Odega out for September. That's on page 5. Below that, we have also page 5. United records 113 million euro loss. That's huge. All right, page 3 has the story on Baka worried over Yamal situation, and page 3 also have another story on Pogba's brother to stand trial. Below that masthead, we have Rwanda celebrates holding Eagles in Kigali. That's on page 6. And page 7, Lagos, page 2, sorry. Lagos focused on grassroots sports development. That's coming from Fatodu. And page 2 finally has the story on Adesina drops out of pound for pound rankings, and we have a couple of other stories where we have the stories on the Paralympics 2024 Paris Paralympic Games, and the National Youth Games, which is to kickstart today with an opening ceremony in Delta States today. Just back here in the studio, my co-anchor, Mr. Godwin. We have a few exciting stories. Sports is one thing that brings us all together from all facets of the world, whether it be white, black, tall, slim, Asian, Caucasian, or anything you can think of. As sports unite us together. So at this point in the show, I believe these sports stories will be able to unite us all here in the studio, and
Definitely.
that of our guest who is joining us virtually this morning. All right, so we want to congratulate the Paralympics team of Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
As at Monday 9th and early Tuesday morning, we were told of the arrival of our athletes from Paris, and it's glad to let us all know, viewers, that our Paralympics teams are back from the Paralympics games in Paris, and we recorded 2 gold, 2 silver, and 3
Three
bronze.
silver and 2 bronze.
And 2 bronze,
Yes.
and that's very very exciting, because we had the other Olympiads go to Paris and come back empty-handed, and now we have the I don't want to make any for coming doing better at the the Paralympics games. So what I want to find out from you, Comrade Abraham Soko, if you're still there with us, what's your overview of our performance at the Paralympics game? We have Olympiads winning gold in 2 occasions, and silver and also bronze medal.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Mr. Ebuka. I want to start by saying that I want to extend my congratulations to our team Nigeria. They performed very, very well, and in the Paralympic weightlifting tournament that we won, I think it is a world record. No one has actually lifted 166 kg in the history of the Paralympics.
Yeah.
So it is a world record, and that was actually set by Fola Shade. I want to go further to say that despite the fact that we won 7 medals in all, this happens to be our worst performance in the Paralympics.
Yeah.
Because if you go back to the last in Rio in 2016 in Rio, we actually won 8 gold. I believe in this Paralympics, we won, if I'm not mistaken, we won 2 gold. But in that particular tournament, we won 8 gold. Then, if you go back in time to London 2012, we won 13 medals. Also, I want to take us to Beijing. I think in Beijing, we won 4 gold, 4 silver, and 1 bronze. So I think that there's need for us to actually improve. And as you said rightly, our national youth championship is taking place in Delta State. It's starting today. So it's a good platform for us to develop our indigenous talents. So that's all I would say on the Paralympic. Thank you, Mr. Ibuka.
All right, so let's talk about the financing and the attention of the NOC, the National Olympics Committee, and the AFN, the Athletic Federation of Nigeria. I know that a whole lot was spent more on the other parts than this other part. So do you think we should pay more attention to the Paralympiads than the normal side of the Olympics?
All right. Thank you, Ebuka. I think it is not just the Nigerian thing, but most of the times you notice
Compare,
that
we didn't even get one single. We didn't even get one single medal at the other
yes.
games.
So it seems that on the other parts, a whole lot of that catches a whole lot of attention, and unfortunately, I would say it was what we call wasted investment in a way. Apart from the experience some of these Paralympians would go and get from there, it goes to say that a whole lot was happening at the backstage that we know of. Yes, and if you check the likes of cyclists and the likes of Favor, so many things were playing out that we cannot really begin to point out. But if it was a sane place, I would tell you that heads would have rolled. But yes, because since that incident, we've not heard, or do I say it is not yet in public notice, that these persons, that persons, are paid for all of these lapses encountered during the last Olympic and Games. And yet we're saying that come the next one, we are going to do better. People that are serious do not think this way. You understand? So far, you've not come to tell us this is where and how we performed. This is why we did not get it right. I'm not speaking to the Minister of Sport. A whole lot still revolves around his table. And now Comrade SOKOH raised a very good issue about our Paralympia not performing optimally as against their previous performance. It's not far-fetched. If what is happening to those we considered able-bodied could be that way, what then do you think is happening within their own quarters, where attention is not maximally paid to? So much on that aspect would also be called for questioning. You get? Now, that is one. Then you ask about finance. I wouldn't say that the government is not financing these games enough. They are doing their best. But like we've always emphasized on previous episode of this show, early preparation matters. Now we're talking of the National Youth Games that is coming up. I don't know, so I would want to ask, are there also, just the way we have the Paralympics, do they have a segment for the way we have the Olympics, having both the Paralympics event coming after the main Olympic event? Does this also apply when it comes to our National Youth Games? Where then would you go and fetch all of these athletes from? Is it the ones you've not been consistent in their growth process? Now, all of this boils down to how well we will succeed when we go to international events, international stage. What was those gains recorded in the past? You get? Why I'm drawing our attention to this is that we are presently on that same pedestal of failure if we are not careful. Comrade SOKOH raised issue, I repeat again, on how well we performed previously. We came back, we relaxed, and yet this is an abysmal, despite the fact that it was way better funded than the previous ones. You get? And here we are with we're not coming out with the required numbers of medals. The question I still beg to ask, medals or no medals, money was spent. You get? What was done in the previous account of those that performed were coming out with high volume of medals, gold medals, roughly 8. How did you sustain them?
What form of encouragement
did you give
vibe
to them?
did you give to them?
The money that was allocated to that use, how well did we trace it? Did we see? And now we want them to perform.
Your question brings or pops up another question from my in my mind, and I want to channel it to Comrade SOKOH before we come back to you, my co-anchor. Just after we concluded the earlier stages of the 2024 Paris Olympics, and a few athletes came out and we had some complaints about training allowances or facility allowances, paid or not paid. Some persons paid $5,000, some person paid $8,000, some person paid $1,400, and so much variations in the payment. I want to ask Comrade SOKOH, these persons who are just returned from the Paralympics games, are they also going to be handled the same way? Will they also have the same complaints? Because that had just happened a few weeks after the other stages ended. Now that this stage has ended, will we also record such complaints with athletes complaining about getting their training allowances or facility allowances to enable them train and prepare for the subsequent competitions?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka. I hope that we don't get the same complaint that we have been getting previously. I hope that our sports minister will do better with the Paralympians. I want to further state that, as Mr. Godwin rightly said, that in terms of making funding, the just concluded Paris Olympic was one that I was actually impressed. I looked forward to that particular game because I felt that, okay, money was coming in right, left, and center. I think the House of Rep donated 100 million naira to boost the games, and I saw to the fact that we had Team Nigeria had a campaign, I think, in Germany. So I was actually optimistic. So I was surprised that when we went into the Olympic Games, we performed abysmally and we did not fail to secure a medal. So this I don't know I don't know if we are cursed as a country, but I believe that we are not cursed. I believe that it has to do with management, and I believe that our AFN and our National Olympic Committee, they have to do better. This kind of complaint does not augur well for the development and the patriotism of our athletes. It does not augur well. And I also want to say that I have been actually impressed by our sports minister, but he has to do more. The reason why I say I'm impressed is a sports minister that actually comes out to engage the public. During the games, so we had issues with essays bicycle, borrowing bicycle from the German team. He came out to try and give an explanation, and also when Ophelia was omitted, he came out to actually give an explanation. The sports minister, Eno, is someone that engages with the public, so I commend him for that. Nevertheless, he has to look into the growth in our athletic federation. He has to look into the growth in our National Olympic Committee. As Mr. Godwin rightly said, heads have not ruled for some of the mishaps.
Do you think heads rule in Nigeria or this part of the world?
So I will end there for now. Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so leaving that aspect of the Paris 2024, we will now come down to Nigeria, our own Nigeria Olympic Games, where we have about 5,776 young Nigerians registered to participate at the National Youth Games, which is kickstarting today in Delta State at Stephen Keshi Stadium in Delta State. So just like we made mention earlier, this is our point, or a level of involvement where we are able to discover talent at the grassroots level. But it saddens me to say that after this discovery, what is the maintenance culture? After we've discovered these talents, these young talents, what do we have on ground to maintain these talents that we've discovered? And to the best of my knowledge, the National Youth Games is open to youths from the ages of 15 below, and it's not for persons above the age of 15. And so when we discover them this very young, at so very young an age, how do we maintain them until the level of growth, the level of international appearances or international performances? And so we have seen states like Delta State Governor paying a surprise visit to the planning committee yesterday, where he came unannounced to see the preparation on ground, to see how the training or the facilities have been arranged to welcome all the participants from the Federal Republic or states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Also see the states like Edo State governor coming to boast and saying that his state's team is prepared, and he wants to garner all the whole medals from the National Youth Games. We just want to wish everybody well. And surprisingly, states like the FCT have recorded a good record, of preparation. They say I read from their statement that the Honorable Minister of FCT earlier approved ahead of time all the funds and all the requests the team has made to the desk of the minister. So, but let me ask now. After all these preparations and all these raising of dust by some state governors. What do you think will be the outcome of 2024 National Youth Games? Will Delta State still pack all the medal, or are we hoping to see states that are already devastated by flood coming to use their flood influence to flood the whole National Games with their participants?
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ebuka. Just to answer that, you permit me at
Yeah.
this point to say I am always proud.
You're proud to be a
to be a
Deltan.
Deltan at this time because, like the popular word, we know the carry last. You get Delta State have always represented, and same goes to Edo. But at this point, I want to say that we other states should borrow a leaf from Delta State. Reasons being that outside coming to represent at the national level, state-wise, what is the preparedness? You spoke of FCT. Now, this is coming from a minister from that region that understands how the planning, the preparation of athletes for this. You cannot. There is no pain without glory. You've not facilitated the pain process, and you want your state to come out with a whole lot of medal. Now, imagine the state governor giving a surprise visit just to see the level of preparedness. What do you think that would give to the athletes about to perform? Surely they would clear everything called medal on that table. I am confident of that. Not because it is being hosted in their state, because over time they have created this antecedent of good track record of claiming medals. Why? They are prepared for it. So other states that would be coming, prior to this, what was the preparation level of your athletes before you come? After the previous one, how well were you able to sustain them? How were you able to go get new talents from the schools and a whole lot? We have local competitions in most states, but it just ends at that level. And then you begin to bring old hands to come and compete with these new hands that wants to make name. The difference will be clear. So I'm encouraging all other sub-national states, like we said, all the committees in charge of sports, the commissioners of sports, to ensure that they don't just say, let's wait for the national youth game. Right from the school competition, you begin to pick talent. For me, as an individual, I'm not always okay, despite the fact that I said I'm proud of Delta State and the likes of Edo that will come and claim almost all medals. It now seems as though it's no longer a competition. There should be a clear-cut drag of medal so that when we see the table, we know that we are heading somewhere. Now, what stands is that immediately you find few Deltans on the track or on any of these sports, it is obvious they send these shaking, what is it called, to other athletes.
Or do you think they have the because mostly to the best of my knowledge, a couple of times it's been Delta State hosting the National Youth Games. Do you think they have home advantage?
I don't think so.
So you don't think the weather, the climate, the state factors?
I can bet you if we can take it to Maiduguri, we will still clinch all the medals available.
Okay, we can't take it to Maiduguri because there is flood in Maiduguri now. We'll all be running on top of water. And the last time we checked, there was only Jesus that can walk on top of water. Thank you, my co-anchor. Comrade, I come to you now. You are in Delta State, and I believe you will be part of some of these games. You will be at the venue to observe some of these games and watch some of the activities. So I want to find out what's your expectation for this year's edition of the eighth. I think this is the 8th edition of the National Youth Games. What's your expectation?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka. I want to start by I want to counter your claim that it's because we have home advantage. That's why we have been winning the games back to back.
Okay.
I disagree with you because in the maiden edition, which I think was in 2013, it was actually hosted by Abuja, and Cross River emerged the overall winner of that games. Between 2016 and 2021, Ilori hosted most of the games, and in 2017, in 2021, and in 2023, Delta State emerged the winner. So actually, we actually hosted the one of 2023. We actually hosted that one. So we are actually the defending champion.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it is actually because of home advantage. I believe that it has to do with the support that our government, the governor, have been giving to some of these our athletes. I think in terms of support indices, I think our state governors, I think they rank #1 in terms of the support that they give to some of these athletes. So I also want to talk about the fact that I want to commend our governor, the person of Governor Sheriff Ubuwewori. I want to say that he actually did well by visiting the stadium to be used for the games. And from the pictures I saw, the videos I saw, it's actually, everything is actually a crystal new. It looks well, we look prepared, and it looked, the facilities, the swimming pool, the indoor games, they all looked crystal sharp and ready for the games. So I want to commend him for doing that. So I look forward to the games. I hope that Delta State is able to maintain the high performance issue we have had in the National Youth Games. Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
All right, thank you. So I hope at the end of this year's edition of the 8th National Youth Games that you know go shock Deltans. you know go shock una.
I don't think so.
All right. Thank you very much. So moving away from the National Youth Games, we want to look at the qualification matches. We all know that there has been an international break recently, and countries have gone home. Countrymen have gone home to play for their nation's qualification, either at the regional level or at the World Cup qualification matches. And that's just to inform us, to remind us of the ongoing with the Super Eagles, and a few things has happened between the last time we were on your screen till now. Nigeria has played the qualification matches against Benin Republic, and it was a victorious one for the Super Eagles. And Guavon has come out to say that Super Eagles can beat any team. And after that statement, he went ahead to beat the Benin Republic 3-0, where we saw a brace from Atlanta star Lukman, and we also saw an addition from Victor Osimhen, the African player of the year. All right, so we want to know, we want to talk about our performances so far. We know we did well against Benin Republic, but the Rwandans held us to a goalless draw in Kigali on the 10th of September, where we couldn't get the goal, and it was difficult. So in the past two outings with Guavon as the head interim coach, he has garnered 4 points for the Super Eagles. That's 1 win and 1 draw. So what do you, Godwin? What do your from your point of view? What do you think the Super Eagles? Just to let you know that we are on the top of the group right now, the qualification group for the African Cup of Nations 2025.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ebuka. I watched that game and I followed through.
Which of the one, Benin Republic or Rwanda?
I think the first one, which was
Benin Republic.
Benin, I only had followed the highlights of the game, but the last one, I watched it, and I just want to say, one, luck was actually not on our side, but football, to an extent, is not really a game of luck, but how about preparedness and you right in the game, understanding the tactical play and coming with measures to curtail all of those missed chances. But the players did their utmost best, but for we Nigerians, their best is actually not good enough.
Yeah.
Because they are like the second best team in Africa now, and so much is expected of them. I want to commend the coach, the new coach, or in
The
an
interim
interim
coach.
basis now.
Yeah.
Coach Austin
Egwavon.
Egwavon. He is a man of his word, if I may use that word, as against what we earlier had in the past. The win over Benin Republic is a great one. I think for me, I will confess here, I intentionally did not watch the match
Because of Ganatroy.
I don't want to repeat of
The 2-1
yes,
defeat we
yes,
had earlier.
It wasn't funny because when I watched that match, I left angrily. But this time around, I choose not to watch.
But you know, Nigeria is one of the teams that whenever they are playing, you sit watching the match with your what is it called, with your heartbeat monitor, so that you can able to monitor your heartbeat and able to know when your blood is coming high, so that you can just.
So now you understand why I choose to watch the next match that ended a draw, as against
the one that ended a 3-0
because that's
win.
one that have already given me this point.
Exactly.
To watch.
Okay.
And there is no way you watch the Nigerian contingent playing against any nation and you won't have this
G3 feeling.
Yes. However it wants to be,
yeah.
you stand to say my country must win. That is how that is where we've got into. But as against Rwanda, I think, they have massive support. It's the home ground and a whole lot. But I want to look at it from the aspect of the technicalities of the match. Egwavon gave it his best, but his inability to understand that this is what we need to do at this point is what I, on my own part, will say led to that draw. You understand right away that your forward is not converting all the opportunities. What you need to do is to re-strategize. You understand? Either by bringing in the right persons, although the best we will say were there, but he would have still brought in those key players to cause damage to the defense of the Rwandans, but he never did that. Maybe I felt he was comfortable with the gameplay, but now see where it has led us to. And Rwanda was bet on having that draw with us, believing that if we have a return match, I think something like that if we have a return match, they have a chance of either clinching victory, leaving us to struggle. But thank God we are at the top of the table and we still have an advantage. If we couldn't win them, we had a draw. If they are to come to Nigeria, definitely
we should win them in their your stadium. All right, comrade. Austin Egwavon took Ghana Troy's team unawares when he tactically changed the formation. We were known for a 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 formation, but at the game against Benin Republic, Austin Egwavon played a 3-4-3 formation, and which helped us to clinch victory against Benin Republic. I beg to ask, is it that same tactic formation was not able to bring us victory from that of the Rwandans?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka. First off, I want to say that I am impressed with our overall performance in these Nations Cup qualifiers that we just had, and I want to commend the tactical prowess of our interim coach, Austin Egwavon. I think he performed very, very well. I also want to
all right, thank you. So, my co-uncle, Egwavon has done well so far because he has only, as the interim coach, he has taken us to 2 outings right now. We have the first one a win and the second one a draw. So we want to see here from Comrade SOKOH on his comments about the last.
Okay, thank you very much. I was cut off by network. So as I was saying, I said I want to counter the point made by Mr. Godwin. He said that Guava Push waited too long to make his changes in the second game against Rwanda, and I don't think that was true, because immediately we started the second half, he removed Boniface and he inserted Osimhen. I think he also removed Chukwueze and brought in one other player. And and the second half, we had more chances created, we had more shots on targets in comparison to the first half. So the earlier point you made about we not being lucky, I agree with that. We had the chances, but we are not able to convert. And sometimes these things happen in football. Sometimes you can play your best football, and sometimes you can even be defeated. But we were able to secure a draw in an away game. So I think overall we are topping the table. So overall, I believe that we did well in our qualifiers. We also need to understand that our next game will be home against the Rwandans. So I believe that we are going to win that. I want to also talk briefly on this whole controversy surrounding the resignation of our interim coach. I want to say that our media house.
All right, thank you. So, well, just like he was about to talk about the issue, we've seen post, we saw write-ups that Egwavon says he's stepping down as the interim coach after the game against the Rwandans, and we also saw Egwavon coming up to say he's not stepping down yet, he's still on the game. We also want to ask the question, Mr. Godwin, what do you think about NFF in under Ibrahim Gassar, who is the president of NFF? Do you think NFF has been doing well, or do you think NFF needs a change of government? Although for the first time in so many years, the Super Eagles went to a major tournament devoid of money crisis and it says protest, money crisis and protest, and some don't know that this alone was as a result of administrative leadership of the present board. Do you think the present board is doing well? We have so many things on hand. Apart from this, one of these keynote achievement, we have the case of the issue with the employment of the Super Eagles head coach, and a few others ongoing under the leadership of Ibrahim Gassar.
All right, thank you so much. As regards to that, one thing you would agree with me on is, or if we are to judge by these metrics, you highly just rightly points out, you discover that under his leadership, the NFF, I would say, is doing well. You get, because successfully we have gone to major outings and we've come out successful, apart from some few glitches, and it happens.
Yeah, some few glitches, yes. Because if you count the good part, you should also count the bad part.
So in all of this, it can happen to any sporting administration or the likes. So to add to that, I would want to say that he is doing well. That is one, but that does not say there is no room for improvement. He can improve on so much that is already being done. But now we're not left with this charade where you make an appointment and you expect the person to deliver. You get, and then these persons whom you have made or whom you have appointed did not deliver, and the pressure is then now mounted on you on if you would relieve the person of his duties or not. That is where leadership comes on board. For you to be able to hear voice of reasoning is one or not. So those technical delays you get is why so many persons are saying or feeling that these actions are not quickly taken as expected, owing to the fact that, are you sure this president is doing? But for me, he's doing well. He needs all the support he can get from the masses there to deliver better on the job.
All right, thank you. So, comrade, you were talking about the issue or the saga we already we read or about the resignation of Eguavon as the interim coach, and I also want to chip in the question I had earlier asked my co-anchor here about the what do you think about the performance of NFF President Ibrahim Gassau?
Okay, I will start with your last question.
Mm.
I want to say that the performance of Ibrahim Gossau has been abysmal. Personally, I feel that he's failing as the NFF president or chairman, as the case may be. And I will tell you why. First off, the whole debacle surrounding the hiring of the substantive coach, it's a shame because today we hear one report in the media. Tomorrow we hear another report. Even the NFF came out to announce on their Twitter page that they have employed Bruno Labadia, only for that to fall off. Also, we also need to realize the whole debacle surrounding the appointment of Finidi George and the game against the World Cup qualifying game we had that is leading to us almost being eliminated from the World Cup qualifying. So I personally believe that the NFF has not performed optimally. I personally believe that they actually need to do better, and the Ibrahim Guza-led administration has to do better. Going back to the old Austin Eguavoen saga, I believe that our media has to do better because after that game, he came out to say that he was actually contacted by the same NFF we're talking about to manage the Super Eagles for 2 games. And when he gets back to Abuja, he's going to sit back and discuss with the NFF. So I don't know where media came up with the whole point of he has resigned, he's no longer in charge. I was surprised. So we actually need to do better in the way we report some of these our informations to the public. Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade Abraham Soko, for joining us this morning on the show. The time is fast against us. We have so much to talk about, but very little time. Before I let you go, Comrade Soko, I just want to get your glint on the EPL futures for this weekend as we look at games against your team, Chelsea against Bournemouth on Saturday, the 14th of September, and we also have Tottenham, Arsenal going to Tottenham Hotspurs to play against Tottenham Hotspurs without their captain Odegaard. Just those 2 matches.
Okay. Chelsea, I think Bellamont performed a miracle in their last game. They came on the 87th minute. They were down by 2-0, and they actually won that game in I think in the space of 7 minutes. So that match is going to be a very, very tough one. But I see Chelsea is actually steadily improving, and I believe that we will be able to actually win that game. It's an opportunity for us to see our new signing, Sancho, who is on loan from Manchester United. So I believe Chelsea is going to clinch that one. On the game against Tottenham and Arsenal, that is going to be a very, very tough game. But I believe that Arsenal is also a work in progress. Have been performing very, very well. So I believe even without their captain, I believe that they are going to come up on top in that particular game. They have a very good history of winning. That game is actually a London derby, and they have a very good history in recent London derbies. Thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka.
All right. Thank you so much once more, Comrade Abraham, for joining the show. My co-anchor, I think I've forgotten which English team you are supporting.
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Arsenal. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much, viewers, for being part of this show. Thank you, my co-anchor, for anchoring the show with me. It's not easy to steer the ship just with one anchor, but having 2 anchors makes it a smooth sail. So thank you for being part of the show this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. And viewers, that's a wrap from here. And just as we conclude today's show, let me take a moment to let us all take a moment to reflect on the power of sports to unite and inspire us. Just let me remind you of the iconic words of Nelson Mandela, and he says, "I quote: Sports has the power to change the world. It has the power to unite in a way that little else does." So let's carry that spirit with us throughout our day, throughout our time, and throughout this season of hike, just season of economic meltdown in Nigeria, and have a good spirit that we know that we are heading somewhere. Although we are taking baby steps, we know that these baby steps will eventually turn out to be gigantic steps. Thank you for joining us on this morning talk show on ACNNTV. And until next time, stay informed and stay inspired. Bye bye.